A meristem is where a plant is able to grow. Now, unlike you and me, plants can continue to grow their entire life because they have meristems that have undifferentiated tissues. So, this is kind of like a stem cell. So, it's a tissue that hasn't decided to become a dermal tissue or a vascular tissue or a ground tissue yet. And as the plant grows, then those tissues determine what they're going to be and then become leaves and roots and stems. So this is called indeterminate growth because it can continue throughout the entire lifetime of a plant. Trees, plants, they just continue to get taller and taller and wider and wider. There are two different types of meristems that do two different types of growth. So apical meristems do primary growth. Primary growth is the act of getting taller. So this is going to happen in the shoots to get taller. This is going to happen on the branches to get longer. This is going to happen down in the roots to get deeper. So anytime that you're extending the length of a plant, you're using an apical meristem to do primary growth. A lateral meristem, the word lateral means kind of on the sides. A lateral meristem is going to function in secondary growth. This is how plants get wider. And the reason it's called secondary growth is because it has to happen after primary growth has already occurred. So secondary growth is going to happen in regions where maybe there was primary growth a year or even 2 years ago. This is why the bottom of the plant is wider than it is at the tip of the plant, because the reason it's wider is because of this secondary growth. So on this plant, we can see an apical meristem right here, as well as right here. These axillary buds have the potential to become apical meristems if they were to grow like a branch off of here. Just because the branch grows sideways doesn't make it secondary growth. This branch growing lengthwise is still primary growth because it's increasing the length of the branch. So down here we have apical meristems at the ends of each of these root tips as well, because it's going to help the roots to continue to grow deeper. The lateral meristem is going to be in here around the center of the stem or root. So you can see that it has color-coded here inside of the plant, this red and blue tissue, and that is the lateral meristem. So you can't see the lateral meristem from the outside of the plant. There are a couple of lateral meristems. There's the vascular cambium and the cork cambium. This is where the vascular cambium is a vascular tissue. This is xylem. And this is where the xylem gets thickened into what we call wood. So if you were to cut a tree down, the wood is actually just xylem tissue that has grown wider and wider and wider every year. So secondary means wider. And then the cork cambium, this is going to replace the epidermis. This is going to be like the bark of the tree. This is underneath the bark of the tree. And again, this is secondary growth because it's going to contribute to the wideness of the plant.